I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Village Board for July 16th, 2019. Could you please join us for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Village Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President DeSimone?
Here.
Trustee Franz?
Here.
Trustee Fry?
Here.
Trustee Lomax?
Here.
Trustee Perez?
Here.
We will move to public comment. Does anyone wish to address the board? And if so, please approach the podium and state your name. Do we have any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we will conclude public comment. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the June 25th, 2019 Village Board meeting?
So moved.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. The next item of business is to approve the warrant in the amount of $2,138,343.93. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
You have a motion?
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussions on the warrant? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's four.
The motion carries and the warrant is approved. There are no items on the consent agenda. Under administration, a resolution granting the advice and consent of the Village Board of Trustees to the Village President's appointment of Julie McManus to the office of Village Treasurer. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's four.
The motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 2 is a resolution granting the advice and consent of the Village President's appointment of Julie McManus to the Police Pension Board. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's four.
Motion carries and the resolution is now approved. Congratulations. You're welcome. Under Community and Economic Development Committee, ordinance approving a preliminary and final plat of survey or plat of subdivision at 647 John. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, any discussion? Scott?
Very briefly, Mr. Mayor and village members of the board, this is a simple two-lot subdivision. As you can see in your packet, it's about a 42,000 square foot home site. The owner wants to just slice it in half, the existing house to the south, and have a new home site to sell on the north. There's no rezoning, there's no variations necessary for the existing house with a new lot, and we recommend approval.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's four.
Motion carries and the ordinance is approved. Number 2 is an ordinance approving a variance to allow a fence in the corner side yard at 420 West Green Street. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Scott?
Yeah, this is the house at Green and Galen Court, the blue house. There is a existing chain link fence kind of in the front. It did extend in the rear years ago. A couple years back, it was removed, which necessitates the presence here tonight, pardon me. So the variation is for the corner side yard along Galen Court. They went from a 3-foot chain link fence looking for a 6-foot privacy fence. As is our practice, we try to push that fence back 5 feet from the lot line for the future sidewalk and all that. And you can see there is, well, in the notes, you can see that there's a large tree there. So, long story short, on the 2nd, the CDC had the public hearing. They did recommend approval unanimously with some conditions about jockeying the fence around the tree, and then as you go closer to Green Street, letting it keep up on the nearer the property line because of the driveway. So the CDC did recommend approval unanimously, and the staff has no objection, and second said.
Any other questions? Please- Sure.
It's too late to bring this up, but I didn't think of it when I was doing this time. If you go down the sidewalk, I know they want to kind of keep going straight with that sidewalk eventually. That sidewalk runs right into the tree, so they're gonna have to either take the tree down or go straight.
Gonna go
you know,
around it.
Or go around the tree.
We'll just tunnel it. We'll put a tunnel in it.
Or you can put a tunnel in it.
Sequoia.
And another thing I was thinking, they were saying that I couldn't put the fence directly on the line, because if they do put a sidewalk, it'd be difficult to work against the fence. If you look on the sidewalk in the cul-de-sac, because my backyard, how do I say this? My backyard is like the front yard to the cul-de-sac, because everybody's, my house is aimed north, there's aimed, is aimed west, and so forth all the way around. Anyway, where I'm going with that is, everybody's sidewalk is like 20 feet from their home. You know, they got a big piece of grass and then there's their house. If they put the sidewalk where they wanna put it, right up to the property line, they got like, I don't know, 5 feet to the street. I almost feel like it would make more sense to curve it and get closer to the street, so they're not right up on my property line. There's a pretty big patch of grass from the fence to the street. I'd say probably 8 feet to 10 feet.
But I think we need to be a certain distance from the street, Scott, am I correct?
Well, I might pawn it off on Joe here for a minute. Sidewalk is usually 1 foot off the property line, and then I know if you get in like an IDOT spec, the 4 or 5 foot sidewalk, which would be standard, becomes a 7 foot sidewalk if it's a so-called carriage walk right on the back of the curb. So
That's
What's
correct.
that?
So the difference in widths of the sidewalks will depend on where it's placed in the parkway. You do need a minimum amount of parkway. One of the things we do in the parkway is we do plant trees, which is an asset to the village. So we usually try to keep the parkways as large as we can so that we can plant trees. We will meander a sidewalk around a tree if we feel the tree's in good condition and worth saving. If the tree's in poor condition, we'd probably take the tree down for a sidewalk. So depending on when that sidewalk gets built, we'll deal with the tree at that point. But our preference still in all of our right-of-ways is to keep that sidewalk 1 foot off the property line.
Does that still force me to go 5 feet in, or?
Unless you want to go back in front of the zoning board. I don't know.
Here's a picture up on the screen. Is there a way to zoom in on that? Just kind of want to show, if I may, what I'm trying to kind of show everybody. And
Where's this
somebody
tree?
thinks it's worth bringing up for the board. See where the sidewalk is? If you go down just a little bit more. There you go. See where the sidewalk is, like on the property line? Look at that huge patch of grass to the left. It's literally about probably 8 feet. I just feel like butting right up to my fence and having a lot of grass to the left when you could just kind of take it closer to the street. If you look across the street, you'll see that they only have about 2 feet.
Where is your fence line now? Are you gonna follow that existing chain link fence line down the bottom? Down. So how close does it get from that existing chain link fence to where it wants to go towards the back? Is it more than a foot? If you follow the chain link fence line all the way straight back, the existing, so I'm assuming you're gonna replace the chain link fence and go straight back, right? Does that give it a foot?
Yeah, I mean, the existing chain link fence from the garage to the north is on an angle. It's not parallel, if you will, with the western property line. So it's hard to describe that way. But it does go from probably 4 feet from the property line, and then actually, according to the survey, does nick into the public right-of-way a little bit down at the corner. So
Towards the front of the chain link fence was like about a foot off the property line. And like Mr. Geiger was saying, it angles in, and then at the back corner, it does actually meet the property line. But it's only about that much. It's like that. I guess what I'm trying to do is just, I'd like to really maximize on it, on my yard, not lose those 5 feet. Especially because at one point in time, there was a fence there, and I just want to replace that, that's all I really want to do. Not asking for any special privileges or anything that has never existed before. That fence was like 20-something years old, and see if I can't put it right back where it was. And I know they gave me the reasons about the fence, and I got the sidewalk, and then again, when I started looking at things, I thought, it's gonna whip right to the street. And when I see the big section of grass to the street, I'm like, they could move the sidewalk closer to the street, and they wouldn't have people walking up, brushing up against my fence. They have some room on both sides.
Scott, you want to just talk to him after the meeting?
Sure, and I think that, absolutely.
Talk to Scott after the meeting. This has been, I believe we're going to approve this right now. And then if we have to tweak something, if we have to bring it back in front of the CDC, we'll do that, okay? Did we do a motion?
Yes.
We did a
Did we?
second?
Second.
So we got to call the roll?
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Franz? Yes. Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
The motion carries and ordinance is now passed. Let's see here. Number 3, ordinance denying a variation to allow a pole sign at 610 North York Road. Is there a motion to approve?
You have a motion.
Do we have a second? There being a motion and a second, any discussion, Scott?
This is the industrial building north of Foster Avenue, of course, the west side of York Road. As the green sheet will tell you, the pole signs have been prohibited in the village for in excess of 20 years. And this was interpreted to be an abandoned pole sign. And as an existing non-conforming sign that's abandoned, it needed to come down. The property owner was asking that it remain, and we did not agree with that. Went to a public hearing, and the CDC recommended that it be denied.
Any questions from the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz? Yes. Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
Motion carries and the ordinance is passed. Number 4 is the ordinance approving a variance to allow a paved parking area in the rear yard not adjacent to a garage at 228 South York Road. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion, Scott?
Very briefly, it's a existing single-family home with an attached one-car garage, you can see on the plan, with a one-car drive to York Road. The request is to make some improvements to the house, put a parking pad on the alley, which we would encourage. Generally, that's it. The code says you have to have a garage to have a parking area off the alley, and that's this request. And there's some things on that plan on your screen that they're improvements to the home they want to do that are not subject to this, so it kind of clutters up the drawing a little bit. But the green on the alley is they want to pave the park so they don't have to back out into traffic on York. And we're supportive of that, and the CDC was unanimously in favor of recommending approval.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz? Yes. Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
The motion carries, the ordinance is now passed. Number 5 is an ordinance approving a variance to allow relief from master sign plan at 227 West Grand Avenue. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, any discussion, Scott?
You know, this is the daycare center that's going to open here hopefully soon. It's just tweaking the master sign plan a little bit to allow their unique identification that's different from the others. This, of course, is the furthest north store building from Grand Avenue, and they think this will help their marketing of the facility, and we concur.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz? Yes. Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. We do not have any reports on the finance or the police department. Let's move on to Public Works. 1 is a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with True North Consultants for the removal of an underground storage tank at 100 North Church Road in not to exceed amount of $14,110. Is there a motion to approve the resolution? Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, any discussions? Joe?
The village does own a 1,000-gallon underground storage tank at the old police department located at 100 North Church Road. That tank holds diesel fuel in order to supply fuel for a generator, backup generator for the building. Since we're not using that building anymore, and we've done some work on our local lift station nearby to abandon that generator, we can now remove the underground storage tank. Staff feels that removing the underground storage tank would be a good benefit for the redevelopment of that property at some point in the future, so we'd like to get it out of there while we know it has not been leaking, and it hopefully will be a nice, smooth, and easy transition in a removal. So the staff sought 2 turnkey proposals from 2 firms that have done this work for the village in the past. True North Consultants submitted the lower of the 2 proposals in the amount of $14,110. They have removed a UST at our Public Works facility back in the early 2000s. And they did that successfully, so staff does recommend approval.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz? Yes. Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 2 is a resolution authorizing a purchase order to Vian Construction Incorporated for emergency sanitary sewer repair on York Road in the not-to-exceed amount of $18,620. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion, Joe?
As you may be aware, that the day after we put our final surface course down of pavement on York Road, a sinkhole formed just outside of, in the middle of the pavement or outside of Giles Funeral Home. The cause of the sinkhole was collapsed sewer service for the funeral home. Due to the depth that was required to get down to the main's about 15 feet deep at that location. We could not perform the repair internally. Our equipment only goes down about 12 feet. So we hired Vian Construction as one of our emergency contractors to go in there on a Saturday on overtime to try to get that repair done so that nobody falls into a nice big sinkhole in the middle of the roadway. Due to the location, the weekend work, and the need for flaggers, the repair cost was $18,620. They spent about 9 hours of time out there doing the work. Staff reviewed the invoice. It appears to be in order, so our staff recommends approval of the emergency repair.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz? Yes. Trustee Fry?
yes,
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 3 is a resolution authorizing the execution of a license agreement with Zayo Group LLC to install telecommunications within the Village of Bensonville right-of-way. Is there a motion to approve?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
second,
There being a motion and a second, any discussions, Joe?
So this local license agreement with Zayo is intended to permit the installation of telecommunications within our right-of-way. Zayo is a licensed telecommunication retailer in the state of Illinois, and thus they are exempt from paying our annual fees that we normally would assess onto a firm for occupying our right-of-way. Instead, they pay the state a portion of a tax that gets distributed back to the village as part of our telecommunication tax. The license agreement outlines the guidelines for the current and future projects. It secures deposits of $10,000 for restoration, should we need to restore any of their projects. It also has a $50,000 permanent security in case they go belly up and we want them to remove their services and they don't do it. We have money in our possession to go ahead and do that. So this is a typical license agreement for us moving forward, so staff does recommend approval.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Fry?
yes,
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
President DeSimone?
Yes. The motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 4 is a resolution authorizing the purchase order to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency for the annual wastewater treatment plant NPDES operating permit in the not-to-exceed amount of $17,500. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second,
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Joe?
This is just our annual invoice for operating a wastewater treatment plant and providing sludge. So I just need a purchase order. It's over our authority.
Please call the roll.
President DeSimone?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
yes,
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4. Motion carries.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. 5 is a resolution authorizing an engineering service agreement with James J. Bennis and Associates Incorporated for the 2019 CDBG Annual Residential Streetlight Project in the not-to-exceed amount of $24,926. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
second,
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussions, Joe?
So this is a design engineering contract with James J. Bennis for our 2019 residential streetlight project. The project will include the installation of approximately 34 new decorative streetlights in the area bound by York Road to the west, Jefferson to the south, Marion to the east, and Washington to the north. James J. Bennis has performed this design for us for the last 2 years successfully. We will be receiving community development block grants through the DuPage County CDBG program in the amount of $200,000. This is a $200,000. This is a 50-50 split. Our construction estimate is going to be about $400,000 for this project. The cost of the engineering contract was negotiated down to $24,926, which is about 6.5% of the construction cost, which falls well within our range of normal engineering design costs. So staff does recommend approval.
Is there any other questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
yes,
Trustee Fry?
yes,
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Penicola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
The motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 6 is a resolution approving change order number 1, final with Utility Dynamics Incorporated for a decrease of $8,470.20 for the 2018 CDBG Annual Residential Streetlight Project for a revised contract cost of $313,116.80. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So
Have a
moved.
motion.
Do I have a second?
second,
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Joe, you actually saved us money?
Of course, I always got to bring those up and
Thanks.
make a big deal about it right before I go ask for money to. So, this is our first and our final change order for the 18 residential streetlight program. Utility Dynamics did a great job for us. Completed the job back in April of this year. Purchase order and contract was awarded back in December of 2018 for this project in the amount of $321,587. After balancing all the contract items and closing out the project, the final cost was $313,116.20, which does result in a decrease of the $8,470.20. So staff is always proud to recommend a change order reducing the cost of a project. So you do have staff's recommendation.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's four.
The motion carries and the resolution is approved. I think that's it, right, Joe?
I got a couple more.
Oh, there's a couple more in here. Resolution authorizing the purchase order to Patton Industries Incorporated of Elmhurst, Illinois for the 2019 Caterpillar Model 262D HF skid steer loader in the not to exceed amount of $49,956. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, any discussion? Joe?
So this skid steer will replace our 2000 Bobcat 773T. It's about a 20 years old piece of equipment. It's very tired and needs to be replaced. This is the larger of our two existing skid steers. It's used in every division of Public Works. Staff did evaluate 4 different skid steers from 4 different companies over the past 4 months. The team had the opportunity to go ahead and trial all of the different skid steer manufacturers of equipment. There was a unanimous decision then when we talked about the pros and the cons of the machine to move forward and recommend the CAT 262D. This is based on a number of items like the comfort, the safety, lift capacity, visibility, maneuverability, and the controls. The cost of the machine is $45,690. It actually was the cheapest of the 4 that we demoed. The trade-in cost for the existing machine after a trade-in is $6,800. We are requesting some additional attachments that would help us perform some of the duties that we currently do and some duties that we don't do that we'd like to do, like street sweeping or bike paths. So there's an attachment in there for that. The attachments cost about $11,000, so the total cost for the piece of equipment is $49,956, and we did budget $50,000 in our budget. So it's staff's recommendation to approve.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
The motion carries and the resolution is approved. Number 8 is a resolution authorizing the award of an engineering services contract for with Strand Associates Incorporated for the Church Road Pump Station improvements in the not to exceed amount of $58,235. Is there a motion to approve?
You
So
have a
moved.
Do I
motion.
have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussions, Joe?
So yes, we're looking to upgrade the electrical, mechanical, and plumbing components of our water distribution system located at the Church Road Pump House. The original equipment was installed back in 1959, so it's a very aged system. We have been keeping it running with some makeshift improvements over the past few years. Permanent upgrades are really necessary to effectively and efficiently run this plant and this facility for the village into the next generation. Improvements expected are going to be the replacement of electrical control panels, which is the majority of the cost, valves, motors, pumps, and piping. We are going to be seeking, as part of this engineering design, some grant funding for transferring over to some VFD devices, variable frequency devices, which are much more energy efficient for us moving into the future. 3 firms were asked to submit RFQs for the design work. 2 did submit. The 3rd firm said they didn't have the time to meet our pretty advanced schedule, we'll put it that way. After negotiating with Strand and Associates, who was determined to be the most qualified firm, we agreed on a fee for the services in the amount of $58,235. The anticipated construction cost for the work is about $650,000, resulting in a fee of just under 9%. The quick turnaround contract hopefully will yield some construction documents still this year. We did budget for some of these improvements in the current fiscal year, so we're hoping they can turn around the design plan so we can get a September, October bid and actually start working on these over the winter time when water isn't as much in use. So it's staff's recommendation to approve.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. Moving on to recreation, there's a resolution authorizing the execution of an ice arena and facility usage agreement with Fenwick High School Hockey Club. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, is there any discussions? Todd, you want to take that?
Yes, Mr. President, this is for a standard license agreement with Fenwick High School Hockey Program. They've been a customer over at the Edge for about 18 years. They fill a great void in our schedule. They pick up 7 hours a week for the hockey season, resulting in just over $70,000 in revenues.
Thank you. Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 4.
Motion carries and the resolution is approved. This item is just for information. It's not an action item. It's an informational item to update the board of the current status of the repair of the east rink floor. Todd, would you please update us a little bit on that?
Sure. The purposes of this item is to update the board on the status of the rink floor project that was essentially completed in the fall of 2017. Some background on the project was that cracking of the east rink floor was observed after the cure period with the initial construction, and that the project manager was formally notified well within the 1-year warranty period of the floor. In June of 2018, the crack had grown in size. The floor was then surveyed, and a 2.5-inch drop was measured within the crack. Amendments to the standard agreement were adopted by the village board. Those amendments outlined the terms and conditions deemed necessary in order for the project manager to receive payment. Among the terms in the amendment is the condition that the floor is repaired and that the warranty is extended for an additional 2-year period from the date of acceptance of the repair. Another term is that the village has 30 days from the date of the repair to either accept or reject the repair in writing. The repair itself took place June 18th of 2019. The project manager did apply an epoxy sealant to prevent water from entering and further expanding the crack. However, nothing has been done to repair the 2.5-inch drop measured in certain areas of the concrete floor. Standard operating conditions at an ice arena call for 1.5 inches of ice. With the 2.5-inch drop in floor elevation, the Edge has to build 4 inches of ice in the most affected areas to maintain a flat skating surface. 4 inches of ice causes longer freeze times and more demand on the machinery. So today I'm reporting that the village has provided written rejection of the repair. The village has not received a formal response from the project manager. It's my expectation that the village and the project manager will continue to work together to try and resolve this issue.
Thank you, Todd. Just keep us updated, okay? Anything else you get, just provide it to us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Underneath presidential remarks, I have a few. Here is the new village construction update. The York Road construction project is now complete. The 2019 water main project has been completed. The downtown streetscape construction project is scheduled to begin on Monday, July 22nd. So downtown traffic and parking will be impacted. So please see the village website for information and updates. Due to the downtown construction, just a quick reminder for those that have not yet attended Music in the Park this year, the new location is 1 block north of Town Center at Main and Center Street. Tomorrow night's band for Music in the Park is Voyage, which is a 70s and 80s classic rock band. And in 2 weeks, on July 31st, we will have a community-focused Music in the Park. So we will have representatives from each taxing body in the park from 6 to 7:30, providing information on all their services. There will be raffles and giveaways. So we are encouraging all of our residents out there to go out, come into this community event. Our next scheduled village board meeting will be held on August 13th, so please enjoy the rest of your July. As you can see, we do not have a village manager, so we have no report. Do we have a village attorney's report?
I have no report, Mr. President.
Is there any unfinished business to come before the board today? Is there any new business to come before the board today? Is there a motion? We have executive session?
We do not have executive session, Mr. President.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.